Dear viewers, welcome to my channel Parapsychology and the Least Explored. In my introductory channel, in the introduction, I talked about what this channel would lead you to. It will lead you to the fields which are least explored or which are explored but still not concluded. The fields which are least explored or not concluded could be the normal fields, or the fields could be bizarre and paranormal. About the normal field, I talked about workplace management, which is a subject not well explored, and when the students come out of their institutions, educational institutions, and enter into the work field, they find a lot of challenges. This is one topic which we shall be discussing in one of the episodes later on. The other aspects are bizarre and paranormal. The paranormal aspects again can be classified into psychic and non-psychic. The unexplored or bizarre phenomenon which have defied explanation till now constitute many fields. One of them is covered under parapsychology. And the other fields are non-psychic, like the incidents of sighting an UFO, the mysteries of Bermuda Triangle, and the mysteries of stones which are found rolling without any propelling force. And there are many more. In this particular episode, we'll be talking about parapsychology. This will be just an introductory and awareness creating episode. I am giving these information from a webinar which I did at Parul University. The webinar was quite long, and I am dividing this into two parts. In the first part, I'll give you an overview of what parapsychology is, and in the later part, starting with the definitions involved, terms involved, we will delve deep into the subject. In the next episode, we'll be talking about what work has been done, what exploration about the subject has so far been done, and what is the way forward. But let us limit now to the current episode, in which I shall be taking you on a journey where you have an overview of the different aspects covered under the term parapsychology. Without wasting any further time, I'll take you to the webinar, which I'm starting now, and later on I'll catch up with you at the end of the first part of the webinar, and then we can discuss some of the aspects which I have covered in this part of the webinar. So let's move on.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all viewers. Today in the webinar series, we have the webinar on the topic of the parapsychology, some perspectives. And today we have the stalwarts and the chief guest speaker, Mr. Naresh Kumar, with us. And he will enlighten on this topic. And Mr. Naresh Kumar have around 45 years work experience in the different industry, and he is also an independent parapsychological researcher. So he's have the very vast experience in this field, and he also write books on parapsychology and on workplace ethics and etc. Now I request to Mr. Naresh Kumar, please deliver your speech and enlighten to us and as well as viewer. So request you, sir, please start your speech and enlighten to us and as well as viewer.
Thank you, Dr. Rawat, for my brief introduction. I'm a parapsychologist who is in the field for parapsychological research for more than about 6 to 7 years. I have done my uh, uh, advanced certificate in parapsychology from Australian Institute of Parapsychology. Today, I welcome you all, the intellectuals who are on the webinar, to listen to me on a subject which is not so very well known. Psychology, we all know what psychology is, but hardly we know what is parapsychology. Psychology deals with human behavior in normal parlance when our brain is perceiving the things through our five known senses, which is the normal way of perception. But parapsychology is beyond that. Parapsychology deals with human behavior in paranormal situations. Now, what is paranormal? Paranormal incidents are those incidents which happen and the perception of which you get not through the known five senses of seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, and uh, normally we see all the things through these senses, but there is a proverbial sixth sense which is actually used in the paranormal incidents. Like you may have experienced, some of you must have experienced some things which appear bizarre to you, and you say how it has happened. I'll tell you some of the incidents which will acquaint you with what parapsychology may be meaning. My talk will cover what are some. I'll take you to some paranormal incidents. Then I'll just make you aware what parapsychology is and what are the terms which are there in the parapsychology. I'll give you a brief history of parapsychology and give research details and what could be the research way forward, what we have achieved and what we can do further, what are the benefits from parapsychology, and why it should be interfaced with Indian universities. The parapsychology is a field of research and study in foreign countries where a lot of research is being done. It is even being taught in universities as a classroom sessions as well as they do online courses. But India, we hardly know about it. And then I'll give you some book references of mine, which you can go through to have detailed knowledge about parapsychology. I'll just take you on a journey where I tell you some real life incidents which are available in literature. Dean Radin is a parapsychologist who has done intensive research in parapsychology. In his book called Entangled Minds, he writes an incident. Many of you may be knowing the name of Hans Berger, who invented EEG. When he was a young boy, about 13, 14 years of age, he was undergoing horse training and suddenly the horse misbehaved and threw him on the ground. A chariot was approaching, and Hans thought that he is going to be killed. He was in a terror situation. But somehow the chariot driver could stop the chariot just before touching him, and he was saved. 500 kilometers away, his sister had a terrible feeling, and she told her father that try to contact or send a telegram to find whether Hans is okay. And few days later, when he got the telegram, he could realize that the feelings which he was having at the time of facing the death was somehow got into the mind of his sister. This is what is telepathy. Telepathy is mind to mind connection where one person is able to perceive what is going in the other person's mind without going through the normal five senses. There is an incident of clairvoyance where uh, Joseph Mercy in his book, he is talking about when he was visiting Hawaii, he was in a boat traveling with a boat boy. That boat boy, he was just started talking to him casually, telling him that what he is into. He is actually writing a book on psychic experiences. When the boat boy learned it, then he narrated one incident. He told that about 6 7 years back, when his father was away uh, doing some office job in a different location. Suddenly one day he could see that his father has died. He rushed to his ma and told his mother that ma, papa is dead. But the mother took it very casually, and she told, how do you know that he is dead? But later on, a telegram came, and actually his father had died. So this is how a mind could see long distance without use of eyes about an incident. That is called clairvoyance. A great clairvoyant in Netherlands, Gerard Crozier, had the capability of seeing the things which eyes do not see. If he was taken to a theater or auditorium and randomly told about a seat number, he could tell after from 1 hour after his seeing until 26 days who all people will be coming and sitting on that seat. Not only that, he could even tell about their appearance, their personality, and some aspects of their life. It is simply fantastic. One cannot imagine that such a thing can happen. But these are all real life happenings which I am narrating to you. Even it is told that Abraham Lincoln, the US president, 3 days before death, he had a dream. And he narrated the dream to his wife. In the dream, he saw that in the White House, in one room, there was a casket in which a body was lying and people were mourning around it. So he asked the guard, who is there in the coffin? And the guard told him, the president has been killed. He has been shot dead. And we are all mourning him. 3 days after this incident, he was actually found dead. He was killed by a bullet of an assassin. Dean Redin, the psychologist I talked to you, he told us about a dream by a passenger who was traveling on an airline on 10th September 2011, a day before the Twin Tower collapsed. Now, in the dream, short dream of 2 hours journey, he could see that he is buried in concrete and he is unable to move. He did not see the towers, but he got this feeling, and this feeling was really troubling him. So the next day, when he woke up after the journey and he learned about this twin tower collapse, he could relate to it. Was it a precognition that he was seeing that incident before his eyes, and actually that event happened? Precognition is a thing in which a person can perceive what is going to happen and actually it comes true. Some of you must have seen a Hindi movie called 100 Days. In that movie, the heroine is able to perceive what is going to happen to her in the near future. And those incidents really came true. Even she saw in a dream of a sports magazine uh, cover page on which a horse was there. She went to the editor of the magazine and wanted to find out whether there is such a magazine has been published on which there is a horse on the cover page. There was none. Then she questioned, are there any magazines which are going to be published have a horse on the front page? They said none. But after about a month, she found the magazine having the horse page. It was a really miracle, because what had happened is that there was some derby race on which there was a unusual feat by the horse, and they changed the cover page, bringing the horse on the magazine. So this is of course a fiction, but real life cases are there on which people see what is going to happen, and it actually happens. Now I'll tell you something about incidents in which a person who is already dead communicates some things which are not known to the live person, but actually those are true. Now, this is a case told by Joseph Murphy in his book, in which he talks about a widow whose husband died a few days earlier, but before his death, he had told her that he had changed his will, and in that will, he has left everything to her. When she searched for the will, she could not find it. Their family lawyer had a will which was written 10 years back, and which was an old will, which was not giving all the property to her. She was very worried that where the will has gone. She searched in her house, she could not find it. One day, while she was ironing in the kitchen, she heard her husband's voice. He told her that you go and look at the book, religious book Isaiah, its 45th chapter. And when she went and looked at that book, at the 45th chapter, she found the will. The will was having signatures, it was a legal document, and the legal document left all the property to her. How could this happen? A person dead comes and tells you in your ear some things which you do not know, nobody knows. Professor Ian Stevenson, who is he was a renowned parapsychologist in Virginia. He worked, lot of work he did on reincarnation. Reincarnation is something that happens that when you die and you are reborn as a different person. He recalls an incident in India where a lady in Maharashtra at the age of 32 starts speaking Bengali, the language she was not knowing. And she tells that she was born in Bengal. She lived there. Her name was Sharda. And she narrated some incidents which were found true. There are similar incidents regarding death. Uh, uh, some people have near death experiences, some people have out of body experiences. Erica Johnson talks about one incident of a woman who was lying on an operation theater, and suddenly, in unconscious state, she found that she is floating in the air. She could see all the people who were gathered around around the bed. Doctors are frantically looking whether she is dead, and everything she could see her body also. But after a few moments, suddenly she went into the body and she woke up. There is a Stanley Krippner, another parapsychologist, had dreamt that his wife, called Spotted Fawn, came in her dream, came in his dream, and told him that he will not be seeing him anymore. And next morning, when he got up, he found that she was dead. These are the incidents which baffle us. These are the incidents which you cannot explain how these have happened, but these have actually happened. Parapsychology deals in such phenomenon, and research is going on for years, maybe centuries. Of course, whatever I've told you are the things which I've read or heard, but actually not experienced. Till the time you do not experience such an event, you feel that these things are all probably imaginary, work of a fiction. I tell you some of a few of my incidents which happened to me. On February 23rd, 2018, my father, who was critically ill, was in ICU. He expired at about 4 o'clock. When I came out of the ICU, I could see some relatives of the patients who were sitting on the benches. And there I could see my mother. My mother had expired 36 years ago. I could see my mother sitting in the row of relatives. I called my brother and told him, "Look there, isn't she our mother?" He also said, "Oh, Ma has come to take daddy." What was it? How could it happen? My mother had already expired 36 years ago. How could I see her sitting in the row of those relatives of the patients? These are in parapsychology called spirits who come and talk to you, who give you appearances. They are also called apparitions. There is another incident I recall when I was working. Uh, I was working outstation, and I used to travel by train and reach my destination, work there, and come back by train. On one day, while sitting on the platform waiting for the train, I had a nap. And in the nap, I saw that I've reached my destination, my home destination station. I've taken my scooter and I'm going to my house, but outside the society, I'm not able to enter the house. Whatever I do, my scooter is not able to go into the door of the society. And then my nap broke. I woke up, train came, I boarded the train. I came to my destination station, took the scooter, and went to the society. And actually, I was not able to enter the society because the there were a lot of people gathered around the gate in my society, and actually there was no way I could enter the society. I had to park my scooter outside and go walking. I found that one of the resident had died, and a lot of people had gathered to mourn him, and take him to the crematory ground. So how could this happen? Such things baffle. And these things, when it happened to me, I understood that there is something which is there which we do not know. And the parapsychology is the area or field of study which studies such types of incidents. Psychology, as you know, is the study of human behavior in normal laws of science, mainly mind, brain, body correlate, which we get through known five senses. But parapsychology is beyond this psychology, and it is beyond the psychology in the sense that it deals with the human behavior, which happens not because of the known five senses. It occurs something unexplainable way. Perception normally happens through normal senses, and paranormal perception happens through other than normal senses. Paranormal, as we see, is the something which is beyond human or scientific phenomena. These are inconsistent with the world as already understood through observations in scientific way. As I told you, these are the events which are not perceived through the known five senses. There is something called extrasensory perception, or the sixth sense you can call it, which we say that it is communication without the five known senses. I hope you enjoyed the talk. The talk covers the overall picture about parapsychology. As you see, in the context of perception, which is done through not through the known five senses, this is all connected with mind. You can see through mind's eyes. You can have mind to mind connection. Mind can influence the matter, and mind uh, or the consciousness can survive bodily death. This is what parapsychology talks about. Before, I had personally experienced some of the aspects which I discussed, which were bizarre and paranormal. I was just wondering whether these could be true. I decided to post this video after I was fully convinced that there is something behind these spontaneous, bizarre happenings which baffle our mind. Even though we still do not know what are the causes and how these things happen. In the next part of the talk, in the next episode, I'll be taking you to the journey of how exploration about this subject has been done in last 150 years and where we are standing now. There have been lot of work done. Even these hypotheses have been tested in laboratory about the existence of telepathy or clairvoyance and even psychokinesis. And the results which came out of the test are very encouraging. They were statistically significant to signify that these were not happening due to only chance causes. There was something beyond the chance causes which was making them happen. But what are the causes? Very little has been so far done towards the causal research about the parapsychological incidents which we observe. I'll discuss whatever has been done and I will also suggest what is the way forward. Please wait for my next episode. Thank you.